Okay, so first I want to say that this is all for the refua and to pull down Rachmei Shemayim for Binyamin Yisroel and Chanita. And I want to say for anybody who's listening in the first time ever that we are learning the work of Rabbi Moshe Tomer Devorah, Gavaldic work that encourages us to refine our inner traits and our traits of interpersonal interaction. We try to emulate HaShem as much as we can, and the way that HaShem is with us, that's how we try to then become in our interactions with each other. And this brings down incredible chesed and rachamim from Shemayim for the whole world. And of course, we're focusing our efforts on Binyamin Yisroel ben Chanita. So we are on the 6th midah today, and that is ki chafetz chesed hu, that Hashem desires chesed. He desires loving kindness. So here we go. Hello, pirashnu bimkomo. Haven't we already explained in another place, and in particular in Pardes Rimonim, which is another book that Rabbi Moshe Cordovero wrote in 1548, that was kind of an understanding of the Kabbalah. He said he almost wrote it as notes for himself through the Kabbalah so he wouldn't get lost. So in this work, he wrote, Sheyesh beheichal yadua milachim memunim lekabel gmilut chasadim she'adam oseh be'olam hazeh. There is a known place in the chamber, meaning like the chamber of Shemayim, where there are angels who are specially appointed to receive the acts of kindness that a person does in this world. V'kasher midot hadin mikatreget al Yisrael, and when there is an attribute of justice, like accusation that's being leveled against Israel, miyad otam hamlachim mar'im cheserahu. Immediately, those angels that were in that special chamber that were receiving those acts of kindness, they like rush forward and show these acts of chesed. The Kadosh Baruch Hu mirachem al Yisrael, and then the Holy One, blessed be He, has mercy on Israel. Mipnei shehu chafetz chesed. Why? Because what he really desires, what he really loves, what he really longs for is acts of chesed. And then even though it's true, they are guilty of whatever they're being accused of in that moment, if they have done acts of kindness, one for the other, mirachem alehem, he is merciful upon them, shows them compassion. And just like it was during the time of the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash, Gabriel, when Hashem said, so to speak, to the angel Gabriel, and this is reported in the writings of Yecheskel in chapter 10, Bo el benot legalgal v'gomer, where God says to Gabriel, go between the wheel work that is under the kruvim, which is really, he's talking about the Merkava, the Kabbalistic Merkava, which we don't, we're not going to pretend to understand, but there is this holy chariot, which is has all these different faces on it, and some of them are faces of kruvim, and underneath is where the wheels are that make this chariot go. Kihu sar hadin. So Gabriel, he is the minister of justice and judgment, hagvura, and might and judgment and severity. V'nitan lo reshut lekabel kochot hadin, and it was given to him permission to receive the powers of din, benot legalgal mitachat lakruvim, between this wheel work that was underneath the kruvim, me'esh hamizbeach, from the fire of the mizbeach. So he's receiving these kochot hadin from the fire of mizbeach, like as if coals were literally being taken off the mizbeach. Of course, the whole thing's kind of, metaphorical there. Like this is Hashem saying, okay, time to release my anger on Yerushalayim, on the Jewish people. They are just not acting right. They're blowing it left and right. They're totally chayav. Gabriel, go receive that. Zahainu din gevurata malchut. So we're talking about the justice of the gevura, the might of malchut. V'hoya hadin mitchazek ad shebikesh lechalot et hakol. And this aspect of judgment and justice got stronger and stronger until it sought to destroy everything. L'kakeya beit satan shel Yisrael, to totally wipe out literally their eggs, the eggs of Israel, meaning the ability to reproduce, to have a future, the kernel of life of Israel, destroy it all. Mipnei shenitchayvu klaya. They were really deserving of this destruction. Ukativ, and it's written there, Vayera lekruvim tavnit yad adam tachat kanfehem, that Gabriel saw underneath these angels that there was the tavnit yad adam, there was some kind of structure of a human hand underneath them. V'hainu shamar kadosh baruch hu leGavriel, and the Holy One, blessed be He, said to Gabriel, Hem gomlim chasadim elu im elu, v'af im hem chayavim nitzolu v'haya lahem she'erit. There's somehow that, so first of all, in the beginning of the story, it's like the angels are giving him these coals from off the mizbeach, kivyachol, from a hand that they have underneath their wing. And in the story, it says that Gabriel waited first of all, the angels cooled it off in their hand, so it wasn't as hot as it might have been. And then the angel Gabriel didn't really want to release it, so he held on to it for like 6 or 7 more years to cool it down further so it wouldn't utterly destroy. And when he saw that the people were unrepentant and there was nothing to do but release these coals over Yerushalayim, HaShem stayed his hand. HaShem came and said, no, don't do that. And somehow this hand underneath the kruvim was involved in bringing out acts of chesed that would then soften Hashem's desire to actually do what the people deserved, and therefore he did not. Even though they were guilty, nitzolu, save them. Let there be a remnant. Right? He didn't want to destroy them. He couldn't bring himself to destroy them because he saw their acts of chesed and how they were interacting with one another. Never mind that they hurt me. Never mind that they're, destroying my kavod and going against me. They're acting with chesed one to another. V'hatam mipnei midazo ki chafetz chesed hu. And the reason, right, that he didn't want to destroy them is because of this midah. Ki chafetz chesed hu, because really what he desires most is chesed. Rotzeh b'mash Yisrael gomlim chesed, right? He wants to see that which Israel is like, these acts of chesed that Israel is doing one with another. Ve'otot tzad mazkir lahem, and then that is the side that he remembers for them. Then he's going to focus on those acts of chesed and not on the part where they're actually chayav. If they're not really so kosher yosher from the other side, from some other place, they've actually been doing stuff that really needs destruction or needs, punishment or tampering with. But God instead chooses to laser beam his focus on the chesed side. I'm going to stay focused on that. And that's going to change my desire to do anything negative. Im kain, b'midah zo ra'ui la'adam lehitnaheg, and so it's fitting for a human being to act that way also, one with another. Afim ra'asha adam oselo ra umachiso, even if a person really has done something that harmed you or legitimately angered you, there's really something going on. In yesh bo tzad tova, but if you can redirect your gaze, just like Hashem did, and find the good, look for the good, really, work hard to find the good. Maybe this person in a previous time has done some act of chesed for you, or for your children, or for someone in your family, or maybe it's not even for you. It has nothing to do with you, but you know that he gives charity over here, or he works hard for Klal Yisrael over there, or he does something, some act of kindness. And even if you don't know some act of kindness, you can invent one. You can say, he's a Jew, surely he's doing acts of kindness somewhere. Im yesh bo tzad tova, if he has some good side, shemitiv la'acherim, where he's doing good for others, omida tova, or he has some good trait, some good attribute, shemitnahe kashura, where he is interacting in some kosher way with other people, or even more than that, he's doing acts of chesed. Yaspik lo tzad zeh. It should be enough for you that he has this good side. Livatel kaso. That should be enough for you to nullify your anger, me'alav, from him. Libo umo, and instead to, really, like, I kind of think of it as like align your heart with his and subdue your own anger. V'yachpotz chesed v'yomer dai li b'tova zo sheyesh lo, that you should, be like HaShem, desiring chesed. Oh, I see an act of chesed that he's done, even if it's 20 years ago. I remember he did some act of chesed. And like I said, even if you're inventing it a little bit, right? Then you should say, it's enough for me. It's enough for me that he did this good. That's all I need to know about. That is going to cool down my anger. V'chol shekain ba'ashto, kitpershu rabotenu zichronan levracha, and all the more so a person with his wife. We have to remember that Rabbi Moshe Cordovero is writing this imagining a male audience listening, but of course we could say the same thing with our husbands, even though it's a little focused here. Like our sages have said in the Gemara in Yevamos, Dayenu shemigadlot et banenu umatzilot otanu minachet. It's enough for me that she raises our children and that she saves me from sin. Right? So, okay, maybe we're not getting along so well. Maybe she did something I'm not so pleased with, but instead I'm focusing on all the good that there is there. I'm focusing on her good. And even if I'm like, I can't even find some other things, I can at least say, she's raising our children. She's raising our children in a good way. She's making them, making sure that they're Torah learned and that their midos are good, and she's saving me from sin. Kach yomar al kol adam. This is how a person has to say about everyone. Dai li b'tova plonit she'asa li o she'asa im ploni, o midatova plonit sheyesh lo. It's enough for me, this goodness that I'm finding in this person that they've done, whether they've done it with me or with somebody I know or with somebody completely other, the yeh chafetz chesed. It should be that we should interact with others in this, with this attribute of desiring chesed. That's what we desire, that's what we see, and that cools us down. So it's a beautiful midah. And I have something else that I'd like to read. It's going to take, I think, just 1 minute. And I wanted to read it yesterday, but I didn't do it. And the day before I had hoped to read it, but I also didn't do it. So this is a story about the Chidah, and the Chidah is telling the story about the Orach Chaim HaKodesh. Hamaisa shehivi Chidah me'rabo. It's a story that he brings about his teacher, his Rebbe, Orach Chaim HaKodesh. V'kach misaper Maisa shemati me Rebbe Chaim ben Atar, Baal Or HaChaim HaKadosh. It's in quotes, like this is exactly what he said. Here's a story that I heard from my teacher, Reb Chaim ben Atar, who was the master of the Orach Chaim HaKadosh. That's the sefer he wrote, that's how he was known. The Ashir Takif Karov Malchut. It's about some rich guy, was very powerful, and he was very well connected with the government. Shezilzel bichvod tamid chacham echad. And he, humiliated the honor of some Talmid Chacham. Hana elav ha'orach chaim. And the Orach Chaim turned to him and he said, Sheimchola ashir ya'aseh shalom. Please, I want you to quickly forgive this rich person and make shalom with him. Hishivu echacham. This is why the Talmid Chacham answered him, Kvar techich umiyad la'achar hamaisa machalti lo. You know what? Immediately after it happened, I already forgave him. Let's see, I just lost my place, sorry. V'nimak pesher zerizuto. And then he explained this alacrity he had in cooling down, how he was really, right away, he cooled himself down. Heyot v'zohar ne'amar, ki chataim shel Yisrael machbidim al kanfei hashchina. Being that the Zohar says that the sins of Israel weigh down the wings of the Shechina. If that's true, then how could I, even for 1 second, not forgive the sin of this rich guy? there would be this extra pain that the Shekhinah would be carrying because of me. I would have caused it. And so I quickly rushed to forgive him. And through this, I was able to block the tsar of the Shekhinah, the pain of the Shekhinah. When Rabbi Chaim ben Atzar heard this from his student or from this Talmid Chacham, he got a lot of pleasure from it. This idea that he was so in tune with the fact that if I don't forgive this person, I'm going to like cause additional tsar to the Shekhinah. I'm going to weigh down her wings. We can't have that. So he immediately, like within a second, was able to forgive this person, even though they did something perhaps not immediately worthy of forgiveness, but he used that to cool himself down. So I'll stop here. I know I went over a little bit. And
No,
Carol,
no.
in Psalm 20. Oh, you're on mute. Carol, you're on mute.
Sorry. Okay, I'll start over. Lamnatecha mizmor David Yanecha Adonai Bayom Sarah Yisagevacha Shem Elohei Yaakov Yishlach Ezracha Mikodesh Mitzion Yisadacha Yizkor Kol Minhosecha V'Olasecha Yadashne Sela Yitain Lecha Kilavecha V'Kol Atsasecha Yimale Naranana B'Yeshua Secha Uveshem Elohina Nigol Yimale Adonai Kol Mishal Secha Atai Yadati Ki Hoshia Adonai Mishicho Yanehu Mishmei Kadsho Biguros Yesham Yino Elev Arecha Ve'elev Asosim Ve'anachnu B'Shem Adonai Eloheinu Naskir Hemar Kara'u Benifalu Ve'anachnu Kamnu V'nito Dad Adonai Hoshia Hamelach Yanenu Ve'yam Karenu.
Okay, and then Carol, you'll see the rest of 119. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay.
Amen.
Bye, everyone.
Tomorrow is Friday, and I will just record it on my own time and post it, God willing. God willing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Bye. Good
Bye-bye.
Shabbos.
So much.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye. Carol.
Bye.